What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin on the show as always. Good to have you, Dustin.
Yeah, bro. Thanks for having me, man. As always.
Absolutely. Best time of year. Playoffs right around the corner, and all these teams fighting for, to keep their seasons alive, and just some great football. Did you have a good Christmas and enjoy watching the games on Christmas Day?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. It was an overall good day. Food, football, family. What more can you ask for?
Absolutely. Good food, all that. The NFL blows the NBA out of the water with the ratings. So the NFL proving once again it's king. That's something that's happened kind of recently, in my opinion, is that it used to be kind of close, but recently the NFL has really taken over as the number one sport in America.
Yeah, it's to me, it's more like the NBA regular season to me isn't as should I say competitive or less defense. It's more about offense, and I think a lot of people don't like that. They want to see competitive games.
Yeah, in my opinion, the NBA regular season is 82 games of like all-star game, in style of play. No defense and just here you take it, here you take it. The playoffs is when it gets fun, and the NFL is a good product all year round. It doesn't matter if it's regular season or or what. It's always going to be very competitive, hard fought. Um, so let's get into it. I mean, week 16 in the books, only 2 weeks left to go in the regular season. Playoffs right around the corner. Are you getting excited? Are you feeling the desperation in the league from these teams just trying to stay afloat?
Yeah, especially after you know Saturday and Sunday proved a lot. There were one team choked that I was high on, and the other one that I believe can do it is still balling out.
Yeah. So we're gonna see how it all shapes out. But let's talk about week 16, Thursday night, the Jags at the Jets. Quarterback Mike White out with a ribs injury, so Zach Wilson gets the start for the Jets. Um, we've been saying for a while that we thought Zach Wilson gives the Jets their best chance to, play their best football and be competitive. But man, Thursday night did not go along with our narrative as Zach Wilson struggled, only put up 3 points on offense. The Jets got out to a 3-0 lead, and the Jags scored 19 straight. Game wasn't even competitive. 19-3 Jags in New York. Were you surprised by that outcome?
I was, and coming on, following up to what you said, yeah, bro, that was not a good performance at all by Zach Wilson. I mean,
No, and so that's likely going to be his last game of the season. And everyone remembers, that's how he's going to be remembered for this year. That's not a good way to go out. What are your thoughts on Zach Wilson right now? I mean, is he still the Jets' future, or how are you seeing this?
ooh, that's a good question. I think maybe benching him. It's still too early, in my opinion. He's still a guy who's developing. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, I think he'll be back, and I think Mike White will probably too, and I bet they'll be competing for the starting spot all training camp and preseason, and best whoever plays best wins it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Robert Sala believes in Wilson, just as much as I think that the team still believes in him. He just has, I think it's just been a rough year, and he'll get better.
Yeah, and if we remember, the team kind of started to turn on him, or at least the defense, when he refused to take accountability for his poor performance in a loss, and the defense kind of started to turn on him then. That was the reason he got benched in the first place. So, like you said, a really bad year for Zach Wilson, and this was supposed to be the year he took off. He's got guys like Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall, and I know Brees got hurt, but he's got weapons, and it's unacceptable the season that he's had. he's got another year, I think, to figure it out. But the clock's starting to tick on. If you remember when he was drafted, there was Broadway Zach was the talk, and he's got a lot to do to get that kind of hype back, huh?
Oh man, those are some big, big, massive shoes to fill, bro.
Yeah. And the biggest thing is they weren't even competitive on Thursday night. Still fighting, trying to make the playoffs, and it was just an ugly game. The Jets are trending down for sure, and the Jags are trending up. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has been balling out, and not only Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, the running back, Lawrence's college teammate, he's been balling. And then how about tight end Evan Ingram, who a lot of people had kind of written off with the Giants and stuff, and he's having a pretty good bounce back season in Jacksonville.
Yeah, for sure. Man, you know, kudos to them. I mean, the Jags had that controversy with Urban Meyer and stuff, and all that kind of stuff, and that was last season. But Doug Peterson comes in and he's completely turned that team around, did a full 360.
Yeah, Doug Peterson's doing a good job, and you see Trevor Lawrence seems to be so much more comfortable in the offense and getting the job done, and has this team with a chance to make the playoffs. And if you had told me or you in the preseason that the Jags were going to win that division, we both would have laughed at you, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, the favorites coming in was Tennessee or Indy.
Yeah. And who would have thought you barely 500 might win this division. So you never know what's going to happen in a long NFL season, and it's cool to see the Jags fighting for, potentially a home playoff game in Jacksonville. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah, that'd be wild. And whoever goes there, that could be a trap game.
Yeah, if they don't take them seriously, absolutely. Um, so the Jags win and the Titans lost this week. So they're now tied for the AFC South division lead, and the Jags currently have the tiebreaker, and they're going to play each other week 18 for the division. I mean, are you giving the advantage to Jacksonville right now? I mean, the Titans are rolling with rookie quarterback Malik Willis. Trevor Lawrence has got to be the better quarterback of the two, right? At this moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, the Titans do have Derrick Henry, so if they're gonna get it done, Derrick Henry is gonna have to carry the load.
Yep.
Um, so Jags at Texans in Week 17, that should be a winnable game. I mean, the last thing I want to see is Jacksonville, have all this positive momentum, a 3-game winning streak. They've won 5 of their last 7. They have to take this game seriously and beat the Houston Texans and set up this big game against Tennessee.
Yep, I agree.
I mean, the Texans, I mean, didn't they beat somebody? Didn't they beat the Titans? So as bad as the Texans are, you never know. They might sneak up and surprise somebody.
Yeah, I mean, they're bad, but they've been playing teams tough this year. I mean, the Cowboys they fought, they played the Cowboys till the end.
Yeah, and they almost beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, they're
So
feisty.
yeah, they're not too bad. They're at home, so the Jags better take them seriously and get that win. For the Jets, they go to Seattle to take on the 7-8 Seahawks. Mike White is going to get that start. Neither team likely to make the playoffs, but if there's any glimmer of hope, both teams need to win out and finish 9-8, right? So, do you think Seattle is the better team of the two?
I do because I think Seattle has a better quarterback, in my opinion. I think Geno's a little bit better than Mike White,
Yeah.
and that's gonna matter when it comes down to winning a big game in January.
Yeah. Yep. In Seattle, I would say the Jets have the better defense, but Seattle's very capable of putting up points regardless. So we'll see how that game goes. Let's go to Saturday, Christmas Eve. The Falcons at the Ravens. 5-9 Falcons at the 9-5 Ravens. Ravens jump out to a 14-0 first half lead. Hang on to win 17-9. My big takeaway, big win for the Ravens. They get to 10-5, still fighting for that division championship. When my question is this, when is Lamar Jackson coming back? Because they need him back as soon as possible. Don't you agree?
Oh yeah, I agree with that statement 100%. And I don't know when he's coming back. Have you heard anything?
They're hoping I think they're keeping it quiet. I think Lamar Jackson's gonna be back in week 17. They play on Sunday Night Football at home against the Steelers, a hated rivalry and a must-win game if they're going to win that division. So I think Lamar's going to be back this upcoming week, but he better be, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Because they need him. You don't want a repeat of last year where you were so close to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Desmond Ritter throws for 200 plus yards, no turnovers, no touchdowns. What do you think of Desmond Ritter in the limited action he's seen so far this year?
Yeah, I think he's I mean, he obviously has more developing to do, and that'll come with experience.
Yeah, I
So
think he's one of those long-term development guys. He's such a raw prospect. He's going to take a couple of years, right?
yeah, and I mean, there's no shame in that. We've seen it
Yeah.
with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Trevor Lawrence still has many things he has to work on. Justin Fields is still developing guys like that. So I think he'll be all right.
Would you be sold on Desmond Ritter? Or if you're the Falcons, are you looking to still upgrade the quarterback position? Mariota's likely not going to be back. So right now, all you're working with is Desmond Ritter. I would be bringing in a veteran. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to sitting Desmond Ritter another season, at least most of it. So I would be interested if I'm Atlanta in bringing in a veteran quarterback that can start the majority of the games next year. Do you agree with that, or what do you think?
Okay, so here is my take on it. It depends on what Atlanta's trying to do.
I
Is
mean,
Atlanta,
yeah,
does Atlanta know that that Desmond Ritter obviously needs all that development? Do they have faith? Are they going to be willing to give him the time for it? If not, you go and get that veteran, quarterback.
yeah. I would absolutely. I would try to go get a veteran who Ritter can learn from, maybe a more experienced one, unlike Mariota. I mean, Ritter can learn a little bit from Mariota, but right now with Mariota away from the team, right now is when Mariota could be playing a vital role helping out Desmond Ritter, and it sucks that he's not there.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I would absolutely get a veteran. You're gonna have Drake London, you're gonna have Kyle Pitts back, some other weapons. How about that rookie running back Tyler Algier out of BYU having a pretty good year with when he gets his reps.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
With like a
players.
fifth round pick. He's having some success. 2 weeks in a row now, Drake London with a fumble lost. He needs to clean that up real quick, doesn't he?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's not that's a bad habit to have, because
Yeah.
that's that's asking to be benched really quick.
Yeah, but we love his talent. So if he can clean up that, he'll be a star for years
And
to come in Atlanta.
yeah, and that's the thing,
Um,
you know,
yeah, go ahead.
and that's the thing is you can have a fumbling problem, but if you can overcome that by being very talented.
Yeah, and work on getting rid of that fumbling problem. He's too good to have a fumbling problem. So I think with some work on it in the off season, maybe work on how you hold the ball, better ball security, and I think he'll get a lot better next year, right?
Yeah, he had the same issue as Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. Yep. So for, here's a throwaway game in week 17, the 4-11 Cardinals at the 5-10 Falcons. We'll see if Trace McSorley starts again. Desmond Ritter expected to start. You know, at this point, you're just, checking out the talent you got, the young talent. So give me Atlanta to win that one, get to 6-10, but not really a game I'm too excited to watch.
Yeah, give me Atlanta also just because I think Arizona's not even trying, bro. I just think like I mean they did play a close game with the Bucks, but other than that, I just don't think Arizona really. They just want to finish out the season and get ready to clip Kingsbury and move on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So big game on Sunday Night Football. It's been flexed to Sunday night. The 7-8 Steelers at the 10-5 Ravens. Um, if Lamar Jackson's back, John Harbaugh says we'll have to wait and see. I think he's just being playing sportsmanship. I expect Lamar Jackson to play, and so a must win for the Ravens. They need to win out in order to win the division, host a playoff game, and see if they can go far in the playoffs, right?
Yep, absolutely. Because man, that's a bigger game than what it should be.
I mean, the Steelers are likely out of the playoff race pretty much, but it's a massive game for the Ravens just because of how good the Bengals are playing right now.
Yeah, and I'm still sticking with my pick, man. I think the Bengals win that division.
This is why I'm rooting so hard for Lamar to get back because I'm sticking with my pick for the Ravens to win that division. So come on, Lamar, I need you. Let's go to the Lions, the 7-7 Lions at the 5-9 Panthers. Detroit comes in on a 3-game winning streak, red hot, winners of 6 of their last 7 games. But from the very get go, it was obvious the Lions did not come to play. Uh, Running backs Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard ran all over this Lions defense, especially in the first half. In the first half alone, Dustin, the Lions gave up 240 rushing yards.
Jeez, yeah. I was sitting there watching the game, and I'm like, man, so each running back in the first half was over 100 yards. That
Yeah,
is, and not to mention Sam Darnold was having his way with them too.
yep. Um, and my whole thing was, and I told you this too, I was like, the Lions love that underdog mentality when they're being slept on, and Dan Campbell can sell that to the team. He can be like, "Look, they're not giving us any respect. They think we're the same old Lions. Let's go out there with a chip on our shoulder and prove everybody wrong." But when you get on a winning streak, you're playing some of the best football in the league. You come into Carolina, all of a sudden everybody expects you to win. That's when the Lions didn't show up. And that's what's got to change going forward is that when you're expected to win, you still play your best football. And that's where it came back to bite the Lions on Saturday, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's unfortunately that's the history of Detroit. I mean, you play really, really well, and then a game that you need to win the most, you go out and choke. So I mean,
Yep.
you
But
know that
an opportunity to get back right against the Bears on Sunday, and Dan Campbell says that's on him for not having his guys ready to go, and he guarantees they'll have them ready to go against Chicago. So, a tanking Bears team, a Lions team that is a must win. If they're going to sneak into the playoffs, I expect the Lions to bounce back in a big way. Do you agree?
I do too. And I mean, it's gonna come close, bro. It's gonna come down to what happens in Lambeau, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, and Green Bay has to do their part. They got to beat Minnesota, and get to that point. Um, you spoke of Sam Darnold, who ever since Sam Darnold took over as the quarterback, the Panthers have won 3 of their last 4 games. Um, I didn't think Sam Darnold was any good. Do you? What do you think? Does that mean something to you? Is Darnold playing some good football right now?
I mean, you're obviously doing something right if your team's winning, you know.
Yeah,
Uh my thing is I just think maybe Darnold needs a chance. I mean, he actually looks pretty comfortable out there.
yeah, and
You know,
credit to interim head coach Steve Wilkes. He's had the team competitive and is doing a good job to potentially get himself an opportunity to be the head coach long term, right?
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, because his first time around with Arizona didn't go so well.
No, but Arizona's a tough place to win too. And how about defensive end Brian Burns? He records 2 sacks in the game, giving him a career high 12 and a half sacks this season. You know, I don't know about you. I loved Brian Burns coming out of Florida State, and it's nice to see him balling out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He's had a big year.
Yep. Um, so and then a massive game in the NFC South on Sunday. The 6-9 Panthers at the 7-8 Bucks. Carolina won the first game, so they're trying to sweep the series. And the Panthers are still alive in the playoff hunt. If they win this game, maybe they can steal the division. Massive game, but give me Tampa Bay and Brady. When the back's against the wall, give me Brady and the Bucks, right?
You could say that, but man, that offense looks awful, bro. And
Well, it does and it doesn't because Tom, they've looked pretty good in the fourth quarter of a couple games recently. You know, they just got to find a way to get it going all game long, and they can struggle all they want, bro. When it comes down to the fourth quarter, it doesn't matter if they're down double digits in the fourth, like they've been 2 of the last 3 games. I still trust this team to find a way to win.
yeah, absolutely. And I see what you're saying. Tom Brady knows this is probably do or die, and in that
And it's
circumstance, he's going to be the goat.
Yeah, and it's not just Brady either. It's like part of the issue is offensive line isn't protecting for Brady. Even when Brady delivers a catchable ball, sometimes the guys aren't catching it. But then in the fourth quarter, when you're down double digits, this is go time. We have to score now because the clock's against us and we got to win this game. That's when the entire offense seems to come together and start making plays.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's interesting. And I think it's like a belief factor. Like you get down to the nitty gritty when you need it, and the entire team believes in Tom Brady. So they all pick up their game. So we'll see though. I'll sound stupid if the Bucks don't show up at home against Carolina, but I fully expect Tampa Bay to take care of business and win this game on Sunday, get to 8-8, and stay on the path to winning that division. Do you? Or are you rooting for Carolina? Do you think the Panthers can steal it?
Oh man, I'm gonna go with because it's Brady. I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay, but
Yeah,
the Panthers very well could win.
they could, but I'm not putting too much faith in it. Give me Brady and the Bucks to get that win, and we'll see. I'm going to be watching that game
Where's
closely. What's that?
is this game in Carolina or in Tampa?
In Tampa.
Oh yeah, give me the Bucks.
Yeah, so they better show up. But again, the Panthers are playing good football, so they better show up. The 11-3 Bills at the 3-11 Bears. As a Bears fan, I hardly watched any of this game. There was a lot better football on. Surprisingly, the Bears led 10-6 at halftime, but the Bills pull away in the second half to win 35-13 in Chicago. Um, were you concerned at all to see the Bills trailing to the Bears at halftime?
No, because I mean, it seems like that's the Bills' mo this season. I mean, I've seen them at least 4 or 5 games where they struggled in the first half. It's not about how you start; it's about how you finish.
Yeah, yep. And credit to them, they pulled away in the second half and blew the game out. Here's an interesting stat. Justin Fields held to just 11 yards rushing. He's been an absolute monster on the run so far this year, but only 11 yards rushing on Sunday or on Saturday.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, he was leading the league, I think, as
Yeah.
quarterback in rushing
For,
yards.
yeah, for a quarterback. So great job by the Bills defense and getting that win. So the 12-3 Bills going into a massive Monday night football game in week 17. 12-3 Bills at the 11-4 Bengals. The Bills are on a 6-game winning streak. The Bengals are on a 7-game winning streak. Something's got to give here. Who do you think loses this game?
Oh, that's the Bengals because I'm sticking to my 14-3.
I was I was gonna pick the Bengals to win this. I might still pick it. This is a tough game because it really could go either way. I'm leaning Bills as well, though. I think the Bills are the better team, the more complete team. And we're going to talk more about the Bengals coming up. But unless the Bengals put together a complete full game, they've made a lot of mistakes and stuff like that. The Bills seem like the more complete team. Do you agree?
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure.
But it's going to be a crazy environment in Cincinnati, so we'll see if they can get the job done, stay red hot going into the playoffs or not. Um, and plus, I need the Bengals to lose so the Ravens can get in there and win that division. Let's go Saints at Browns. I expected the Browns to take care of business and get this win at home in the snow. Deshaun Watson. Browns jump out to a 10-0 first half lead, but the Saints rally to win 17-10 in snowy Cleveland. How surprised were you by the outcome of this game? The Saints getting a big road win.
Yeah, it was. I had figured Cleveland was going to win this game, but I mean, kudos to the Saints. Went in there and had a big win.
Yeah, big win. The Browns didn't play their best football. And it's a bad home loss for Cleveland. The Saints still alive in the division race right there with Carolina, and they're going to play the Panthers week 18. So if the Bucks trip up at all, it might come down to Saints Panthers week 18. How crazy would that be?
Yeah, bro, that is so crazy. So imagine a team below 500 making the playoffs.
Well, we've seen it before. Remember those Seahawks got in at like what? What was their record?
7-9,
Yeah. I
and they
watched that team live against the Bears, and I remember when they beat the Saints that year in the playoffs,
yup.
the Beast Quake. So you never know. It's like even if you're a below 500 team, just get to the playoffs, win that division, get a home playoff game, and anything's possible.
Yes, sir.
So for the Saints, though, a tough game in Week 17 at the 13-2 Eagles. Although we'll see if Jalen Hurts plays. I wouldn't play Jalen Hurts. I'd start Gardner Minshew again. So maybe a winnable game for the Saints. I'm gonna lean Philly, even if it's Minshew, though. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Minshew played good enough to, you know, win that game against the Cowboys.
Yeah. Yeah, he played a pretty good game, and the team around him, that's a very complete team in Philly. A great defense, great running game, great receivers. So even with a backup quarterback, they can still play pretty good football.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, in my opinion, Minshew could really start anywhere in the league and be pretty good.
Could start where?
I I believe Minshew could be a starter anywhere in the league.
I don't know about anywhere. What are you gonna put him in Green Bay and start him over Aaron Rodgers?
I meant like if he had to come in and be a starter for any of these big, if a big injury happened to a big time,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
he.
He's one of the better backups in the league and probably a borderline starter, right?
I mean, if you were to tell me right now Gardner Minshew would start next year for Indianapolis, I'd be pretty damn happy.
Yeah, but you guys are desperate, man. Colts can't figure it out at the quarterback position. So, yeah, I mean, Minshew, you can do a lot worse than Minshew, though. I agree. And then the 6-9 Browns at the 7-7-1 Commanders. No Taylor Henneke anymore, so Carson Wentz is going to start this game. Man, give me the Cleveland Browns. I don't trust Carson Wentz to get a win.
Okay, first off, I do not like that decision.
Yeah,
I
and
don't like
we're going to
it at
talk more
all.
about that coming up when we talk Commanders, but I agree. I don't understand. I mean, you know, I guess Carson Wentz has the higher upside than Taylor Henneke. So I guess you want to see what he's got, but I thought it's been pretty clear that Henneke was the better of the two options. But to the point, Heineke has struggled a little bit the last couple games, so
Yeah,
we'll see.
but
But I don't trust Carson Wentz, so give me the Browns on the road. What do you think?
yep, I'm gonna go with Cleveland.
Yeah. 7-7 Seahawks at the 11-3 Chiefs. Chiefs jump out to a 17-0 first half lead and win 24-10 in Arrowhead. Good win for the Chiefs as they, Chiefs and Bills duking it out for the number one overall seed for home field advantage in the AFC. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes down. The Bills have the tiebreaker with the head-to-head win over Kansas City. So, and likely, that's likely going to be a matchup, Bills Chiefs at some point in the playoffs, don't you think?
Yep, I do, and man, it's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, and we'll see if Josh Allen can finally get over that hump and beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. He's beaten him in the regular season twice now. Can he do it in the, when it matters most? Um, Seahawks fall to 7-8. We were all over the Seahawks earlier in the year. It looked like they might win that division at one point, but now it looks like they're going to miss the playoffs. What do you think of the Seahawks season? A successful season or not? And Geno Smith as well. I mean, they were playing, they were doing great for a while, but now they're going to likely miss the playoffs.
Well, let me say this: it's absolutely, in my opinion, a successful season just because of the fact of where the media, we didn't, we thought they weren't going to be that good with Gino, but you know what? They proved us wrong. And I mean, whether you always want the playoffs, obviously that's the goal: playoffs, winning the playoffs and Super Bowl. But for you guys to lose, obviously your superstar quarterback, and to even be on the edge of the playoffs is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I had this team going 4-13 or 5-12, and I thought that it was going to be a revolving door at quarterback between Geno Smith and Drew Lock. So credit to Geno for taking that job and keeping it all season long. Um, they overachieved, but they need to add more talent to take that next step and get to the playoffs. My question to you, Dustin, is do the Seahawks still need to upgrade the quarterback position? Is Geno Smith capable of getting this team into the playoffs? I have my doubts about that. Like Geno can be a great quarterback in September and October, but can he win you the biggest games late in the year and get you into the playoffs? I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, obviously right now we're seeing that he can.
Yeah.
And you know, and if you told me that Geno Smith would have been at least my backup on my team, I'd be pretty comfortable,
Yeah.
but as a 17 game starter, possibly 18, maybe 20 if you reach the Super Bowl, I just don't know if he has that in him. And that is, not dogging Geno, bro. He had a great year, but he still has a lot to prove.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with being a high-end backup. You can still make good money and have a long career being a high-end backup, and that's what Geno Smith has been. He's been a good backup wherever he's been, and he keeps you in games, right?
Absolutely.
Gives you a chance. So absolutely. Week 17, the 4-11 Broncos at the 12-3 Chiefs. Chiefs should be able to take care of business. Chiefs are, trying to get to 14-3, just like your Bills. So we'll see how that unfolds. But Kansas City needs Buffalo to slip up one of these games. Otherwise, they're not going to have that number one overall seed. And I don't know that Kansas City is that concerned about that either. I think if you're the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and those guys, you feel like, hey, if we have to go to Buffalo, we can still go get a road playoff win.
Yeah, because I mean, wasn't the game last year in Buffalo, or was that in Arrowhead?
No, that was in Arrowhead. That's the issue. Is that we said like we can't have the last 2 years the Bills have been eliminated in the playoffs in Arrowhead. So it's way more important to Buffalo to get that home field advantage than it is Kansas City, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, So let's go to 8-5-1 Giants at the 11-3 Vikings. I picked the Vikings to win this, but it was a much closer game than I expected. The Vikings jump out to a 10-0 first half lead, have to hang on to win 27-24 on, get this, kicker Greg Joseph hits the game-winning 61-yard field goal as time expired. That's the longest field goal in franchise history.
Yeah, I mean, what a good kick. And actually, he's had a pretty good back to back games.
Greg Joseph, yeah, he's a great kicker, but how about these Vikings, bro? You go back to that win over the Bills. You look at a lot of these wins they've pulled out of their ass this year. This team has been special, and they're just, even when they don't play their best football, they find a way to win big games, don't they?
Yes. And let me tell you, bro, that's because they have a very special guy at receiver. And I mean, he's an absolute dude, bro.
Yeah,
Justin Jefferson, as a matter of fact, I think he's close to reaching 2,000. And that's some very good company.
yeah. I mean, Justin Jefferson. I mean, we all knew it, right? He was balling at LSU with Joe Burrow. Like, we knew all the way back then he was a very special talent, and it's awesome to see him still, now being one of the best receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, and that's why, and you know, off subject for a minute, but that's why I tell people that that LSU team was one of the most talented ever because of the fact of how good Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are doing in the NFL.
Yeah, and then Joe Burrow on top of that.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Um, Big win for the Vikings to get to 12-3. Very impressive record for the Vikings. Who would have thought 12-3? Um, Good game from Kirk Cousins, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. And then how about TJ Hawkinson? I mean, we criticized the Lions at the time. Why are you trading TJ Hawkinson, let alone to a division rival? Hawkinson, 13 catches for 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's been a great addition to this Vikings team, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, I mean he's played very very well, and he could be he could be one of them sneaky weapons when it comes to the playoffs.
Absolutely. And don't look now. The Vikings are activating Irv Smith Jr. off of injured reserve. So now they got another tight end to go with Hawkinson.
Oh man, that sucks for Green Bay.
um, let's see here. um, what do you think of the Giants? Good job by the Giants of keeping this game close, nearly pulling off a big road win, but couldn't quite get it done. They fall to 8-6-1. Um, but a great opportunity for the Giants in week 17 against your Colts, who are a bad team right now with quarterback issue and a lot of issues. So the Giants should be able to take care of business. If they beat the Colts on Sunday, the Giants will clinch a playoff spot. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, good for the Giants. Brian Dable is already changing that franchise in his first year.
Yeah,
Good hire, and I like him, offensive minded coach. But
yeah.
they're gonna win big,
Excellent,
and I'm gonna take.
excellent hire. And we've seen an improved Daniel Jones this year as well because of it.
Yeah, less turnovers. I'm glad that you brought that up, and an improved, pretty much healthy throughout most of the season. Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley's been a huge aspect of that as well, and not just the running game, but he's an excellent pass catching running back.
Yeah.
Um, so massive game, 12-3 Vikings at the 7-8 Packers. December or January football in Lambeau. The Packers are 5-1 all time in the regular season in January in Lambeau. So Aaron Rodgers said it best. We got a couple dome teams coming to Lambeau. It's going to be cold. He's confident. How are you feeling about the Packers at home with their backs against the wall trying to make the playoffs? Do you think they can beat division rival red hot Minnesota Vikings?
With Aaron Rodgers with AR 12 as your quarterback, you always have a chance.
Yeah. Um,
And
he gives you
look,
that belief factor if you're a teammate, right? You're like, look, if I do my job, if I run the right route, if I catch the ball, Aaron Rodgers is going to put it in the right spot and give us an opportunity to win the game, right?
absolutely. And Christian Watson has stepped up these last, I'd say 6 or 7 games, bro. He started off really slow, but now he's balling.
Yeah, absolutely. And another guy that stepped up is tight end Mercedes Lewis caught a couple big time balls in that game on Sunday on Christmas.
He's still playing?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I know, but it just seems like, man, it seems like he's been there forever.
I know, for real. So, how about this? The Packers, the Vikings have been disrespected all year long. If you remember back when the Lions were favored against the Vikings, but they actually won the game. Now the Packers, 7-8 Packers are favored in Lambeau against the 12-3 Vikings. Do the Vikings take this as disrespect and play one of their better games of the year and steal it? Or do the Packers take care of business and get a huge win and force that week 18 winner take all game? Give me the Packers, honestly. I think Green Bay, they're hot. They're playing some really good football right now. And I just think they're going to find a way to win it. Do you agree?
I do, because of the weather. The weather is going to be, in my opinion, the deciding factor because, they're going to go from used to playing inside of a building to playing out on a damn near frozen tundra because that's basically what Lambeau is in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And, but again, if it back against the wall, we talked about Tom Brady earlier. Give me Aaron Rodgers over Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how the Green Bay defense does because not only do they have to worry about Dalvin Cook, who's been a Packer killer in the past, but Justin Jefferson. And now, and then Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne's come on recently, TJ Hawkinson. So there's weapons all over the field that you have to be ready. Your best bet is to force a couple of Kirk Cousins turnovers because if he's playing his best ball, Vikings are very tough to beat.
And that's very possible because Jair's been playing really well.
Yeah, yep. So massive games coming up this Sunday. Let's go to Bengals Patriots in Foxborough. Um, a great opportunity. I picked the Patriots to win this. Your back's against the wall. You want to make the playoffs, you need to win games like this at home in December. The Bengals looked like they were going to blow this game out. They were up 22-0 at halftime, but the Patriots come rallying back, and a very sloppy second half by the Bengals should have cost them the win. I don't know if you saw all this, but first of all, they're up 22-0. And to start the second half, Joe Burrow throws a pick six to Marcus Jones. So just like that, it swings momentum in New England's favor. Then they allow the Patriots to convert a 3rd and 29. How about that?
Yeah, I did see that. I thought that was wild.
Yeah, for a touchdown. And then Jamar Chase fumbles the ball late fourth, only up 4 points. Jamar Chase fumbles. And if the Patriots can convert on that drive, they take the lead late and likely win the game. I mean, the Patriots should have won this game. Did you see the ending?
I did not because I believe we were having a Christmas dinner.
So I've been hyping this guy up all season long. He's one of my favorite running backs. I felt like he's a future star. Ramondre Stevenson held to just 33 combined yards in this game. And I believe it was like inside the 10-yard line or maybe right outside the 10, looking to take the lead late and win the game. Ramondre Stevenson fumbles the ball and the Bengals recover. No timeouts left. That's the game.
Yeah, that's I mean, you know, it's unfortunate, but he's played well, so
He's
you
played well, but man, that is a terrible fumble.
and I
And
and I
likely, I mean, they're still alive technically, but they would be in a much better position if they had found a way to win that game. And it sucks when everything seems to be going your way and then you have a self-inflicted error like that costs you the game.
Yeah, and I just feel bad for the possible ass chewing he got in the locker room.
Yeah, but you know, it's not just Ramondre. You know, it's been a complete team issue for New England this year. I mean, if it's not Ramondre, Mac Jones has made mistakes. Jacoby Myers with that lateral to Chandler Jones, all kinds of mental errors the Patriots have had this year. So it's not on one player, you know, it's a complete team issue.
Yeah, and oh no, that's always with any football team. But I mean, me personally, from the start of the season, I absolutely did not agree with Bill Belichick's decision at who he had calling offensive plays. I thought that was going to come back to bite him, and in my opinion, it has a little bit.
Well, it has, and a little bit, but there's a chance, still a chance the Patriots make the playoffs. So we'll see. Um, and they've got a monster game coming up this Sunday. The 8-7 Dolphins at the 7-8 Patriots in Foxborough. The Dolphins have had their number, but if the Patriots ever can put together a one game that keeps the season alive and they play their best performance, it needs to be this Sunday and get a big win against a reeling Dolphins team right now.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm gonna have to. It bothers me to say this, but I'm gonna have to pick New England to win that game.
Me too. And have you heard who the quarterback is going to be for that game for the Dolphins?
Yes, I did. I believe Teddy Bridgewater, right?
Yep. No Tua. Tua is out with a concussion. So Teddy Bridgewater gets the start. Look, if the Patriots don't win that game on Sunday, I'm going to absolutely torch the Patriots on the podcast. They should have beat the Bengals and they should have beat the Raiders. There's so many games this year the Patriots should have won. And,
Not
huh?
not gonna lie, my favorite part of the podcast is when you rip teams, bro. It's so funny.
Well, I never do it just to be an asshole. It's always deserving.
Oh yeah,
And New
absolutely.
England better effing show up in week 17 against the Bengals or against the Dolphins. Otherwise, I'm going to lose it. But the Dolphins are absolutely reeling. There's no reason in my mind the Dolphins should win that game. They should be on a 5-game losing streak and are in very much danger of missing the playoffs after being 8-3. You know what I mean?
Yep,
It's a
absolutely.
very similar collapse compared to the Ravens last year, who were leading the AFC at 8-3 and then missed the playoffs. Only the Ravens had a legit excuse, and that was Lamar Jackson got hurt. What's the Dolphins' excuse? You know,
Uh, Inexperienced head coaching, in my opinion.
don't get me started. I think that's the worst coach in the NFL by
We're gonna
far. Huh?
we're gonna get to that team. I have a lot.
Bro, I think he sucks. But anyways, we'll get to that in a few. Um, So yeah, that's what we're setting up for Sunday. I can't wait for that Dolphins Patriot game. I'm gonna be watching that one real closely.
Is that a 4 o'clock game or a 1 o'clock game?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look that one up. But either way, it's gonna be must watch football.
Yeah, I'd rather watch
Uh,
that than Colts and Giants.
yeah, don't watch the Colts and Giants. Spare yourself from that. It's gonna be at 1 o'clock.
And no, that's not me saying, in case people are listening, that's not me saying that I'm changing sides or anything. It's just I just would rather watch better football
You
instead of
don't.
a
No, I totally get it. Everyone wants to watch good football. You don't want to watch Nick Foles throw interceptions for you.
absolutely not. Scored 3 points on Monday Night Football. Get the hell out of here.
Now you're starting to sound like me, getting up, tired of this shit. Um, the 1-12-1 Texans at the 7-7 Titans. No Ryan Tannehill, so rookie quarterback Malik Willis makes his third start of the season. And look, I know, Malik Willis is a rookie, but there's no excuses, right? Go take care of business, beat a bad Texans team, get to 8-7 so you can still make the playoffs. But no, the Titans had an early lead and blow it and lose 19-14 to the Texans in disgusting fashion. Titans at home couldn't beat a really bad Texans team. I don't care how good a football the Texans have been playing. You can't lose this game late in December if you're a playoff team. Don't you agree?
I do agree, and it's the fact that I just don't think that the offensive coordinator over there, or maybe Bravo calls plays, I'm not sure, but
No, yeah, the Titans fans are not happy with their offensive coordinator.
they're not playing to the strengths. I mean, yes, Malik throwing the ball less is good for Tennessee. Feed feed Derrick Henry, bro. Feed the monster.
Yeah. Um, Todd Downing is the name of the Titans offensive coordinator, and I've seen it on Twitter. A lot of people are calling for his job.
Yeah, I do think that Bravo will stay, but there is going to be changes in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll see what the Titans do. Very similar to what we were talking about earlier. I think that with Atlanta, the Titans are going to need to bring in a veteran, whether it's Tannehill or not. They need to still be sitting Malik Willis. He's a long-term project. So Malik Willis struggling a little bit in his rookie year doesn't concern me much at all. I still like the prospect a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, again, bro, with these rookies, it comes down to experience, and the only way you get experience is playing in games.
Yep, reps,
Yeah,
repetitions, and learning on the fly.
like
And yeah, and Malik Willis showed some flashes. He had that one rushing touchdown that was nasty. And then even on the final drive, he had like back-to-back plays where he was using his athletic ability to keep plays alive and make some throws down the field.
yeah, and that's the thing why there's a difference why we're seeing Herbert, playing at the level he is. Mac Jones at times is because those guys basically had no choice but to get in at the starting as a rookie. He has the fortunate ability to be able to sit behind a veteran who is a pretty decent quarterback in Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so big win for the Texans. I mean, I guess. I mean, they're a tanking team, but they spoil the Titans. That's always fun to do to your division rivals. Bad loss for Tennessee. One of the plays that really hurt was a Derrick Henry fumble. He's not known for fumbling. He had a great start to the game with a long rushing touchdown, but a big fumble, I believe it was in the fourth quarter, at least in the second half, allowed the Texans to take the lead and end up winning that game.
Yep.
Um, the Titans, another tough game. They're going to play on Thursday night, tomorrow night. The 11-4 Cowboys at the 7-8 Titans on Thursday Night Football. Who are you taking to win that game?
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys, but this seems like a trap game for Dallas also.
Yes, I'm glad you said that because that's going to make me sound a little smarter. Give me the Tennessee Titans to get a big home win over the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. I'm I'll give you a little inside information. I've been hyping up Malik Willis since the draft. I liked him at Liberty, and he's got that skill set, and potential to be a star. So I was hyping him up to Carolina Panthers front office guys, and trying to tell them to take Malik Willis. They didn't draft, or they took Matt Corral, right?
Yep, Matt Corral.
Yeah, they should have listened to Alex and taken Malik Willis, but they didn't. So now we get to see Malik Willis on Thursday Night Football national TV. Check out Malik Willis. It's a great opportunity to check him out, see how he looks. I expect a good game from him on Thursday night, and I agree. Feed Derrick Henry. If you're gonna win, it's gonna be because of Derrick Henry.
Yep.
And then Jags at the Texans. Jags cannot afford. How disappointing would it be if the Jags pulled the Titans and lost to the Texans? You know.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
So the Jags better take care of business, learn from the Titans' mistake, show up to Houston ready to go so you can get that win and go on to win the division. It's going to come down to likely that Titans Jags week 18 matchup. Commanders at 49ers. The Niners jump out to a 21-7 lead and win 37-20. Real quick, bro. Trey Lance goes down for the year. Jimmy G comes in, he goes down. How are the Niners still putting up 37 points with seventh round pick Brock Purdy, and they haven't lost since he's taken over? I mean, the Niners just keep on winning. How is this possible?
Well, I mean, what can you say? Brock's kind of pretty, isn't he? No, I'm just playing.
No,
But
I wouldn't say that ever. I don't know. You're checking out Amanda's post on our group too much there.
it was just funny. I'm not gonna lie. No,
But
but
I mean, he reminds me of Cooper Rush, right? He's just coming in and playing pretty damn good football.
yeah, and I think I mean San Francisco, if he takes him, if Jimmy G don't come back and he can take him, I mean, imagine the story. But what does what do the 49ers do? I mean, in the off season.
Well, I mean, I the off season we'll have to figure out when it comes. Let's talk about the playoffs though. Jimmy G is expected back. Do you put Jimmy G back if he's healthy no matter what? Or if Brock Purdy continues to win, do you consider riding with the hot hand? What would you do?
Um, I would I mean, obviously put the veteran back in. You know, he has the experience and gives you the best chance to win if you have to go to Philly or Minnesota or something like that, you know?
Yup. And he's taken this team to the Super Bowl before, hasn't he?
Yes, sir.
And he was the quarterback that got that divisional road playoff win in Green Bay and Lambeau last year. So
Well,
Jimmy
I
G
mean,
is very capable of it.
he is one overthrow to I think it was Sanders in that Super Bowl of tying that game and it might have been a different outcome.
Absolutely. And I think that's the last thing Jimmy G needs. He needs a championship, right? He needs that Super Bowl. But his resume is pretty impressive without it still.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I always say at the end of the day, Jimmy G doesn't stick out with, flashy talent, but the guy is a winner, bro.
Yeah,
And that's all that matters sometimes in the NFL is winning football games and championships.
absolutely. That's all that matters. 100%. Everything else takes a back seat to being the last team standing at the end of the year. How about George Kittle and Brock Purdy seem to have some chemistry going on? Kittle, 6 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's like his second or third straight game of putting up real good numbers with Brock Purdy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was a guy who thought that maybe Kittle was going to take a step back this season, but I was wrong.
Yeah, he's an absolute baller. To me, it's Travis Kelce and George Kittle. Those are the two best tight ends in football. 1A, 1B. And give me Kittle, but Kelsey's a baller too. And then how about defensive end Nick Bosa? He records 2 sacks and a forced fumble. He's got a career high 17 and a half sacks so far this year. Is Nick Bosa your defensive player of the year?
Oh man, that's pretty close because I like my Michael Parsons. I
Yeah.
like, but Bosa has really stood out to me. So I mean, I wouldn't complain if he won it.
And I like that he's on the number one defense in football, right? That to me adds to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, we're not talking enough about the Niners possibly winning the Super Bowl, bro. And I think we really should because that team is overall, I think they have the best team.
I agree. I think we are staring down the barrel of a Niners Eagles NFC Championship game, and or at least meeting in the playoffs if it's divisional round or whatever. But Niners Eagles, I think, is where it's at, and I think that there. I mean, of course, the Bucks could step in and potentially beat one of these teams and change that narrative, but Eagles and Niners right now look like the two best teams, at least in the NFC, right?
Yeah. Going back to it, at the beginning of the season, did I have the 49ers and the Bills?
You might have at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I thought that those were my two Super Bowl picks was the Niners and the Bills.
Maybe. I know you were still high on the Rams. You were probably talk. I know you talked Vikings, and we still had the Packers making the playoffs. I'm not sure. We'd have to go back and look, make and know for sure.
I was just curious because I mean that would make me feel good if I called the Bills at 14-3 and then I called the Super Bowl being the Niners and the Bills.
Yeah, but you know what they say. I mean, everything looks good right now. January, when the playoffs start, that's when it really matters, right? If the Niners get knocked out in the first round, then that pick's going to look bad. You know what I mean?
Yep, and
So it all
anything's
comes down to January. But I think I had the Niners in the Super Bowl too. I forget who I had in the AFC, but I think it's Niners Bills too. We might have agreed on that. So
so if let's say this scenario happens, right? Green Bay gets in, they have to go to Levi Stadium, but it's Brock Purdy starting. Do you trust him to get the win over Aaron Rodgers and company?
yes, I do because for whatever reason, the Niners have had Green Bay's number, and more importantly, Kyle Shanahan has had Matt LaFleur's number, and that defense has had Aaron Rodgers' number. If you remember last year, the most shocking thing about that upset was how good of a job the Niners defense did of shutting down Green Bay's offense. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers had opportunity after opportunity to put that game away and never did, right?
Yep.
So I think it's going to be Jimmy G over Brock Purdy, but yeah, the Niners are going to be a tough out. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the Eagles. I don't care if you're the Bucks, the Cowboys, the Packers, the Vikings, whoever. You don't want to have to play the Niners in the playoffs. The
Absolutely.
Rams, last year's champions, should have gotten beat by the Niners, right?
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at it, bro, we were probably we could probably right now currently be in a wouldn't it be like three no, not three straight, but three out of the last four Super Bowls could have involved the 49ers.
Yeah, easily. So they're balling. Credit to Kyle Shanahan and that defense. And I have to talk about defensive coordinator D'Amico Ryans, bro. The best defense in football, and in my opinion, along with Sean Payton, who's getting all the hype, D'Amico Ryan should be the hottest head coaching candidate this offseason, right there with Sean Payton.
I mean, I agree. I think he's doing a great job, and he's definitely has he's learning from, in my opinion, the best offensive mind in football.
Yeah. And
Kyle,
I mean, I just love to see it because it wasn't that long ago I was a fan of D'Amico Ryan's the linebacker, and now he's having so much success as a coach.
yeah,
So it's cool to see. For the Commanders, Taylor Henneke has a back to back struggling games a little bit, a couple turnovers. That last interception is what got him benched in favor of Carson Wentz. But I know you disagree um, with Wentz coming back in the first place. And it was a quick leash on Henneke in this game. Um, Henneke has come back down to earth a little bit, but I don't believe that Carson Wentz is the answer. I would have continued to play Tyler Henneke. What do you think of the Commanders and Ron Rivera's decision?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Um, you play Henneke. He's struggling, but you are in the position you're in because of Taylor Henneke.
He's struggling a little bit. He's not struggling really badly,
No, he only
and
threw one pick
you
on
of
Sunday.
all people would know more than any, more than most about Carson Wentz because he was on your Colts last year, and for those that watched Wentz struggle in Philly and then struggle in Indy and struggle this year with the Commanders, he just doesn't seem to be the guy. So I would be going to Taylor Henneke. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Henneke gives you the best chance, and especially when you still have some hope for the playoffs, you don't want to ride into the playoffs with Carson Wentz.
And don't we know at this point a lot more who Carson Wentz is than we know who Taylor Henneke is? So Taylor Henneke's still proven who he is. Everyone knows who Carson Wentz is, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've seen way more of Carson than we have Taylor.
Yeah. So I disagree with the decision. And it just leads me to always go back to the same thing is Ron Rivera has no idea how to coach quarterbacks. It's always been an issue. He fumbled the Cam Newton situation late in Cam Newton's time in Carolina. He's fumbled the Alex Smith situation. He fumbled the Dwayne Haskins situation, and he's fumbling the Taylor Henneke situation. And he threw Carson Wentz under the bus in like week 3. So my question to you is this: is it time for the Commanders to move on from head coach Ron Rivera? He's 5 games below 500 as the Commanders head coach since he's been there, since he was hired, and he's only been in one playoff game, and he lost that one playoff game 0-1. I don't really see the need to bring back Ron Rivera for another year. Do you?
No, but the thing is, if they make the playoffs, he's coming back.
Sure, but I don't think they make the playoffs. And so maybe that's the line, right? If they make the playoffs, he comes back. If they miss the playoffs, he doesn't. Is it that black and white, you think?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. They have an opportunity to beat the Cleveland Browns at home in week 17, but Carson Wentz is getting the start. Give me the Cleveland Browns. What do you think?
Yep. I'm going Cleveland.
All right. 11-4 49ers at the 6-9 Raiders. Looks like Jarrett Stidham is going to get a start for Vegas. So the Niners 8 straight wins. Let's make it 9 and get that team to 12-4. Brock
Yeah.
Purdy, Trey Lance, Jimmy G. It doesn't matter. The Niners just keep on rolling, huh?
Yeah. I mean, they're good, bro.
Yeah. Um, let's go Eagles Cowboys. Big game on Christmas Eve. 13-1 Eagles at the 10-4 Cowboys. Jalen Hurts out with a sprained shoulder, so Gardner Minshew gets a start. So my opinion was this: if the Cowboys can't win against Gardner Minshew with Jalen Hurts, potentially league MVP out, then the Cowboys have way more issues. That's a game you absolutely have to win with Jalen Hurts out. I know Minshew played well, but at least the Cowboys got it done in the end, win 40-34. Do you think it's a bad sign that the Cowboys nearly lost, that it was as close as it was without Jalen Hurts?
No, because again, I have a lot of faith, bro. I'm telling you, I have a lot of faith in Gardner Minshew.
But I agree. I like Minshew, but the gap between Minshew and Jalen Hurts has to be a pretty big gap, doesn't it?
No, I don't think
I
so.
I think there is. Now I'll give you this: Philly has a great team around him. So Minshew comes in, he's able to have success, very similar to how Brock Purdy is having success in San Francisco. I'll give you that. But
Okay, look,
I'm a little bit worried. I mean, the Cowboys nearly lost this game. If they had lost, I would be killing Dallas right now. Like, you can't beat the Eagles without Jalen Hurts. What
you
do you
know what's
think on that?
you know what's making me write Dallas off? I mean, they're gonna make the playoffs, but what is making me not believe in them, to be honest with you, Alex? Take a guess.
Yeah. Huh?
Take one guess.
Is it Dak?
Yes, sir. It's Dak
Yeah.
Prescott because he always seems to make a bad decision when in a big game, and it has come back to cost Dallas Cowboys many times.
Well, he had that pick six to lose the Texans game,
Mm-hmm.
and then or nearly lose, or who was it? Who did he throw that pick six against? It was just last week.
It was the Jags.
Yeah, you're right. So he had that pick six to lose the Jags game, which was an unacceptable loss. Then he starts this game out with an early pick six. So now you're down 10-0. They were also down 27-17 in the third, and they were down 34-27 in the fourth. So I will give him credit with this. I felt like Dak Prescott played his best football in the clutch in this game because he was constantly trailing in this game, and he made that one throw late in the fourth that was an absolute beauty of a throw. So I think with Dak, it comes down to consistency, right? Avoiding that big mistake, and you know he's just a little bit away. I mean, you look at last year when the Cowboys lost to the 49ers in the playoff game. If he is just a second sooner on that slide and the Cowboys are able to get that spike with time left on the clock, the Cowboys might win that playoff game, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
And then we're talking a whole different narrative about the Cowboys if they beat the 49ers in the playoffs. So it's just, it always comes down to the playoffs, though. I agree with you. The Cowboys are going to make the playoffs, but they have to get at least one playoff win. Otherwise, the narratives are really going to come out like, I don't trust Dak and I don't trust the Cowboys because they can be as good as they want to in the regular season and they don't get it done in the playoffs, right?
Yep. And if you don't, I mean, if you remember, I think it was like what 2, 3 years ago, they were having this big discussion. Did Dak deserve, max at the time? And I was a firm believer that he did. But if you were to ask me that now, I'd say no.
Well, I think you pay him the max based on potential, and you've seen enough good to justify it. But the issue is, every once in a while, you see some bad, and that's the thing that Dak has to clean up. And it's not just Dak. Sometimes the Cowboys as a team make mistakes, and so you know, mistakes and a couple of losses that you're not supposed to lose in the regular season can easily be swept under the rug if you have playoff success. But they become big talking points when you don't have playoff success. So all the narratives are written in the playoffs. And Dak's done a good enough job to get the Cowboys to the playoffs. Now we have to see what does he do in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's going to be the big thing. I could care less about a bad loss in the regular season to Jacksonville. Just show up in the playoffs, get a win that no one expects you to win, and that'll shut up all the doubters. Otherwise, you're going to have Colin Cowherd and Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith just hating on your team because you don't get it done in the playoffs, and you have to, right? Otherwise, what's the point?
Mhm.
So,
Hey,
um,
trust me, Cowboys. Hear me out. I do not want to have to turn on the TV on a Monday morning and see Stephen A. Smith in a cowboy hat smoking a cigar, laughing.
well, your first mistake is turning on the TV and having Stephen A. Smith on it. That's what I'll say with that. um, but good win for the Cowboys. They come through in the clutch. They get a big win that they're supposed to get over the Eagles. Um, and now they play at the Titans on Thursday night. Again, I'm taking the Titans. That just the Cowboys seem to show up and win a big game against the Eagles. They have success in their division, but then they go and lose a game they're not supposed to lose. So give me the Titans to get a big win on Thursday night. We'll see though.
Yep.
For the Eagles, they're gonna host the Saints. Saints are desperate for a win, but give me the Eagles, even if it's Gardner Minshew, I think the Eagles are talented enough to get that win. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going Eagles.
All right. Saturday night, Christmas Eve, the 6-8 Raiders at the 6-8 Steelers. Legendary running back Franco Harris jersey retirement night. He should have been there. Sucks that he couldn't be there. Rest in peace to legend Franco Harris. It was a pretty cool halftime ceremony to see that number 32 going up, huh?
Absolutely, man. Well deserved.
Absolutely. The Steelers find a way to win. I mean, I picked the Raiders to win it. I thought they were the better team. Um, and they played like it. They should have won the game, but at the end of the day, Kenny Pickett, the rookie quarterback, comes through in the clutch. He played bad all game until that final drive. Game-winning touchdown pass to rookie wide receiver George Pickens. How about, I mean, the Steelers having a down year. They're going to miss the playoffs, but or likely to miss the playoffs. But you can see the young core already, game-winning touchdown pass, rookie to rookie, Kenny Pickett to George Pickens. Nice solid foundation, and then you got a young running back, Najee Harris, right?
Yep.
What do you think of the Steelers' future around Kenny Pickett and George Pickens and these guys?
It's a bright future. I mean, especially Pickens. I love the way he plays, man. He is
Yeah,
electric.
yep.
Um,
And any young quarterback having a target like that is going to help.
yeah, and we're going to be hearing that duo for quite a while, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just wish it was Fields to Pickens, but you know what they say. Instead, it's going to be Fields to Velus Jones for a drop. um, Good win for the Steelers, and then the Raiders. Man, it doesn't get any worse than this. They fall to 6-9, another game that they should have won, and Derek Carr has been benched. Jarrett Stidham, the backup, will start against the 49ers in Week 17. Derek Carr is going to take a step away from the team. The team approved it, so this isn't a Marcus Mariota situation. The team approved it, so he's not going to be a distraction. So he takes away a step away. And head coach Josh McDaniels said on Derek Carr, that's one of many things that we're going to evaluate this offseason. So what does that mean, bro? What do you think? Is this the end of the Derek Carr era in Vegas?
Can I give you a hot take?
A hot take or your gut thoughts, gut
A,
reaction? What do you think here?
a smoking hot take, okay?
Yep.
Or this is fantasy, to be honest with you. Um, the Colts and the Raiders agree to a trade, and the Colts have their fifth veteran quarterback, but this time they're actually getting a guy who's capable of getting it done.
Who's that?
Derek Carr.
Man, you know what? If I'm the Colts, I'm not doing that unless it's Aaron Rodgers. I'm not doing that veteran quarterback shit anymore unless it's Aaron Rodgers. I don't
Mm,
want Derek Carr if I'm the Colts.
okay.
I mean, I look, it's your team, and that's something that you'd like to have an upgrade. Obviously, you want to get the quarterback position right, but I mean, look at Derek Carr's resume. What has he done in Vegas to give you that confidence he can be the guy in Indy?
What gives me the confidence?
Yeah, I mean, Derek Carr. What's he done in Vegas? He taken the Raiders? Has he gotten them a playoff victory? Has he taken them to the AFC Championship game? No, none of that.
No, but to be fair, he's had some pretty bad teams around him, bro.
Yes and no. He's had some talent too. I mean, he had Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs this year, and Darren Waller. You know,
But
so
you told me earlier, it can't always be on the quarterback.
no, but I think some of it is on Derek Carr. Um, I mean, I felt like if Derek Carr doesn't, if he plays a little bit better, I think the Raiders beat the Bengals in the playoffs last year, but he didn't.
So,
So
do you think he should still be a starter in the NFL?
yes, absolutely. Someone's going to give him an opportunity. And one of my most well-connected insiders, Benjamin Albright, he covers the Broncos, but He's so well connected throughout the league. His thoughts on Derek Carr is my first thought was the so I don't know what that take is. Let me go ahead and skip that one. But he talked about the Colts have inquired twice about Derek Carr. So that's real, Colts and Derek Carr. He also said the Saints could be interested in Derek Carr.
Ooh, I kind of like that actually.
Yeah. So something to keep an eye on there with those two options. He said first the Miami Dolphins if Tua retires. But what the hell kind of take is that? Tua's not retiring.
Well, bro, look, he has some type of point there, right? Because you have two major concussions in 1 year. That's not good.
Uh Tua's not retiring.
No,
Concussions,
but
while concussions suck and that you have to be careful, no way in hell is Tua retiring. Tua's in
that,
this for the long haul, in my opinion.
that's probably just a prediction, a long shot, something he said. He's probably not serious about it.
Well, it's a national media talking point this week and today about a lot of players are asking Tua to shut it down for the season at least. And I think that's likely going to happen. That Tua shuts it down for the season, but honestly, probably not. If the Dolphins get into the playoffs, are you telling me Tua's not going to play a playoff game?
Oh no, Tua's playing.
Exactly. Concussed or not. So, um,
If
while
you're
these concussions are scary for Tua, his love of the game is going to overrule that, especially if it's the playoffs. And I see no way Tua's going to retire. He's going to get pressured from his family and from media and whatever, but I don't see Tua retiring. No way in hell.
I don't
I think
either.
more. Go ahead.
I don't either, but I was just saying, like, you had to take into consideration a little bit about those concussions he's had. I mean, they look pretty bad, Alex. And
Well, only so that one on national TV where he threw up the gang signs, that one was very scary. But other than that, I don't really think anything's been that bad
like, why is it that he just keeps getting these?
because of that second one. That one where he got really hurt. If you get that concussion, you're more likely to get concussions along the way down the road. So that's why he got another one. I agree with the fact that if the Dolphins, if he can get away with it, he should not play anymore this year. But if the Dolphins make the playoffs, he's playing. Um, but he does need to rest and recover his brain and let it heal a little bit. But no doubt in my mind, Tua's going to be back ready to go week 1 of 2023. No
Well,
doubt in my mind.
let's see what your favorite coach in the NFL does, man. The Dolphins in or out?
Part of the reason it's an issue is because the Dolphins have absolutely botched Tua's health. They have put the team first in every opportunity with Tua's concussions, in my opinion, and it's disgusting. And that's part of the reason why I can't stand Mike McDaniel. I think he's an unprofessional head coach. He's not a leader of men, and the Dolphins need to move on from him as soon as possible because they're going nowhere fast with Mike McDaniel.
I thought that was your favorite coach.
No, I here just to give you an insight of how I feel about Mike McDaniel. Give me Mark Trestman, Matt Nagy, and Brandon Staley all before you give me Mike McDaniel.
Ooh wee.
He sucks. But anyways, let's stay on topic. Um, yeah. So let's go. Christmas Day, great game. Speaking of Tua and the Dolphins, Christmas Day, 1 o'clock kickoff. The Packers at the Dolphins in Miami. So no home field advantage in the snow for Green Bay. So you got to go to the Dolphins' house and deal with Tua and Tyreek and Waddle. And the Dolphins got out to a 20-10 first half lead. Credit to the Packers. They got that field goal right before halftime, went and scored to tie the game up. So it's 20-20. And they never ran away with it. Two more field goals for Green Bay made it a 3-point and a 6-point game. But The Dolphins had their opportunities to go take the lead, and Tua throws an interception on 3 straight fourth quarter possessions to lose the game. What did you think, bro? Tua really dropped the ball and 3 really bad interceptions late in that game, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you can't do that if you're trying to win football games, obviously. And but was that? I'm trying to remember because I know I watched most of the game, but were those after he was concussed, right, or
I
before?
never saw where he was concussed. I haven't seen a video of it at all. No one can point to me where the concussion happened. They just say, well, he was concussed.
Oh,
And I don't know if that's reality or if you're trying to justify 3 straight interceptions or what. I don't. The Dolphins seems like a clown show to me, that organization. And they were a clown show with Brian Flores when they fired him after the great job he did, and they're a clown show now. So I don't know what to go on with the Dolphins, but there's a lot more issues than just Tua. But you can't throw those 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's as bad as it gets. And credit to the Packers, they did enough to win the game, but Tua's got to play better than that in the clutch, right?
absolutely.
And like we can point to the concussion and say, well, he wasn't 100%. But what's everyone say? If you're on the field, you're accountable for how you play, right?
Yep.
So Tua's got to play better. And the Dolphins find themselves in a 4 game losing streak at the worst time of the year. Now they go to Foxborough to take on the Patriots without Tua. So Teddy Bridgewater gets a start. Give me New England to get that win, and the Dolphins to go to 5 straight losses. Do you agree?
I like New England. And by the way, I'm gonna give you half credit so far. The season's not over yet, but you called this claps, bro. So good job.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with the head coach. I got my questions on Tua, but I trust Tua a lot more than I trust that head coach. And part of it also, so Tua or Mike McDaniel comes from where? He comes from the Kyle Shanahan 49er offense, right?
Yes.
What do the 49ers offense do better than damn near anyone? It's that zone run offense, right?
Yep.
They always plug in Elijah Mitchell,
Debo,
Monster, huh?
they use Debo too.
Yeah, and Christian McCaffrey. They're great. They always run the ball with great success. Well, the Dolphins early in this game were running the ball on Green Bay. Raheem Mostert and these guys were getting big chunk plays in the ground game. Did you notice in the second half the Dolphins barely ran the ball at all? It was all passing.
Yeah. Yep. And but that's where, in my opinion, Green Bay has been weak at all season, and they stepped up and played pretty well.
Yes, they did, but if you're Miami, you got to challenge that. And so that's where I put the loss on head coach Mike McDaniel for being one-sided throwing the ball so much, especially if you've got a concussed Tua, you're throwing the ball all the time. Man, run the ball, right?
Yep.
Supposed to be one of the strengths of the offense. Why are you going to trade for Jeff Wilson Jr.? Why are you going to add Raheem Mostert if you're not going to run the ball, right?
That's for sure.
Absolutely. So, real quick on the Packers. I mean, a massive win for the Packers. They're starting to play much better football. You hit it on the head with Christian Watson playing good football, and Aaron Rodgers has really stepped up and is playing some great football here, trying to lead this team to the playoffs. How about this? Here's a trivia for you. I don't know if you saw this on the broadcast or not. Who has played the most games in Packers franchise history? What player?
Most games.
Yep, in Packer franchise history for the team. Yes.
I mean, when I hear that, I think of longevity. So
Yep.
I'm thinking of maybe a couple guys. Brett Favre.
Brett Favre was the leader. He
So
got
Aaron
passed
Rodgers
on. He got passed on Sunday.
by Aaron Rodgers.
Nope.
Oh, wait, Randall Cobb.
Nope.
Man.
Kicker Mason Crosby.
Oh, duh. He's been there. Oh, man. I feel for you.
256 games as a Green Bay Packer.
Wow.
Yeah, incredible. Aaron Rodgers is third, by the way, right behind Brett Favre. He's got like 30 games to go. The question is, will he get there, or will it be with a different team?
Depends on what they do, in my opinion.
Yeah. Um. So I mean, we've already previewed Dolphins, Patriots, and Vikings, Packers, two monster games coming up this weekend. Credit to Green Bay, that was a great win on Sunday. I told Amanda, I was like, this is the first time in probably a decade that I found myself rooting for the Packers on Christmas Day.
Don't worry.
um,
I got you an Aaron Rodgers jersey coming in the mail. So,
no thanks. I'll give that to Josh
okay.
or Amanda. Someone give it to someone who will appreciate it. Um, 4-10 Broncos at the 4-10 Rams. This was a game that who cares? I picked the Broncos to win because Russell Wilson was back, right? You would think Russell Wilson against Baker Mayfield. Give me the Broncos. They had been playing a little better football of late, but the exact opposite happened on Christmas Day as the Rams jump out to a 31-3 first half lead and blow the Broncos out 51-14. Didn't see that one coming, did you?
No, I didn't. And man, bro, I feel so bad for the struggles of Russell Wilson. I mean, he threw 3 picks in this game.
What do you think is wrong? Because I mean, he wasn't this bad in Seattle.
No, lack of chemistry. I mean, and not having faith in the head coach too. The
Yep.
coach the coach wasn't putting him in the best position to win.
Well,
And
yeah, yeah, and we don't know for sure who's the bigger issue here, Russell Wilson or Nathaniel Hackett. But I was saying all along, Hackett's going to be the fall guy, and he was fired this week, right?
yeah, and I'm hoping it's not Russell because man, the dude, is talented, bro, and very, very talented. I mean, when he's at the top of his game, you can agree he's probably top 5 best in the NFL, right?
Yeah, he just needs to get his shit together and start playing better football. I mean, he struggled last year in Seattle, and no one could really figure it out. And then he got hurt, so that was why they moved on and whatever. But he's really struggled this year. Hackett is gone now, so Russell Wilson's gonna get another year, a full off season with the Broncos, a full season with a new head coach, and we'll see if he bounces back and has a much better second year in Denver. I think he will have a better year, but time will tell because none of us know for sure. I mean, we
Yeah.
neither of us could have predicted this mess that Denver's had this year.
No, because to me, they had the talent to maybe go to the promised land. I mean,
Yeah, at least contend in that division.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have the defense behind you, and then you had who was at least a top 10 quarterback,
Yeah. So we'll see if they can get that back together. Who would you think that the Broncos should hire this offseason? Would you go an offensive guy, someone that Russell Wilson knows?
Yeah, I would go an offensive guy for the simple fact that, like, they tried a defensive guy with Vic Fangio, and that didn't work out very well. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, according to what I've been seeing on Twitter, Broncos insiders are calling for who they wanted to hire instead of Nathaniel Hackett. He's coached with Russell Wilson before in Seattle, but he's a defensive guy, Dan Quinn.
you know, I, I like Dan Quinn. Is he still the DC over in Dallas?
Yep, he is.
Man, he has that defense pretty nice over there.
He
But
does, and he's going to get a head coaching job, and the Broncos seem to be calling for him. So we'll see. That'll. He's not an offensive guy, but you can bring in an offensive coordinator that Russell Wilson approves of and has had chemistry with, or a rapport with, and then Dan Quinn can run the defense and run the team. I think that would be a good hire.
Absolutely. Or I mean, how about Gus Bradley? I mean,
Yeah. Yep. Someone
him,
like that.
I keep telling these teams, if you guys want a good structure and from the offense he's had in the past, man, give Russell Wilson Jim Caldwell.
Yeah. Yep. Or someone like that. Absolutely. So we'll see. I mean, honestly, they haven't worked together in the past, but how about Eric Bieniemy with Russell Wilson? I mean, I would think that would work.
Yeah, and Russell needs a guy who understands quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yep.
And look, Hackett is he's a damn good offensive coordinator, but the the thing is, he just isn't head coach material.
Yeah, and it's hard to say because I think I could call offensive plays for Aaron Rodgers and take the Packers to the playoffs. So it's hard to
Good point.
know, but Hackett, I'm sure, will get another opportunity to call plays somewhere else, and we'll see. Time will tell again. And it's hard to know for sure what the issue is until you see the future down the road, and then everyone knows.
Yep, that's
Big win for the Rams. I mean, the Rams put up 51 points. Very impressive. We talked about it. The Broncos fire Nathaniel Hackett, named Jerry Rossberg the interim head coach. 5-10 Rams at the 9-6 Chargers. Chargers should be able to take care of business there. Let's go to Sunday, Christmas night.
real
The
quick.
Bucks at the Cardinals. Colt McCoy out with a concussion. So third string quarterback, you know this guy well, former Penn State quarterback Trace McSorley makes his first career NFL start for the Cardinals on Sunday night. Were you excited to see Trace McSorley get his NFL debut?
I like Trace. I think he was pretty darn good at Penn State. To me, he didn't do too well when he was in Baltimore.
He was in Baltimore.
I think he played as a backup in Baltimore, didn't he?
He might have. I'll check that out real quick. I'm gonna Google it or Duck Duck Go it. Does that work?
Yeah, he was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, yeah. He was there for 3 years. I had forgotten about that. So
And
I mean, yeah.
he started a couple games too.
Didn't start. This was his first career start. He
Oh,
came in and played filled in, but this was his first career start.
okay.
But did all right. The Cardinals had a 16-6 fourth quarter lead. Um, Tell me what you were thinking watching this game on Christmas night. The Bucks couldn't get it going offensively. The Cardinals at one point in the fourth quarter on that James Conner touchdown took a 10-point lead. Were you worried about the Bucks at that point?
No, and the reason is because I've seen it before.
So, as bad as the Bucks offense looks at times, you've learned to realize that, like, look, this is Tom Brady. You can't count this game out until the clock hits zero, huh?
Yeah, I've learned to realize it doesn't matter if you're at 14 or 17. If there's 1 minute on that clock, you're still in trouble.
Or up 28-3. It don't matter, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And so, I mean, this is the second time in 3 games that Tom Brady has been down double digits in the fourth quarter and led his team back for the win. As bad as the Bucks offense has looked at times, to me, it gives me a lot of room for optimism to see the potential of what this offense can do in the clutch, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they're there. They just have to get it together. They have to figure out why they can't get a whole game together.
Well, I think they're battling a lot as far as offensive line goes. I mean, they're on like their third string left tackle. They're on like they're on all backups pretty much throughout the offensive line. So that's a struggle.
It doesn't
Um,
help though when you have your best receiver on the team dropping wide open passes and Mike Evans.
yeah, Mike Evans had some drops. That rookie Cade Otton, tight end, had a drop on third down. Godwin's had some drops. It happens. I mean, but guess what? Those drops don't seem to be happening in the clutch when they really need it the most, you know?
No, yeah, and that also goes back to Brady's leadership. Is he probably gets the team together and was like, "Look, the defense gave us time. Let's go out here, get our fundamentals right, and let's go win this football game."
Yeah. It's like when they get in that huddle and they can see like, look, our backs against the wall. It's go time now or never. And you got Tom Brady at quarterback. It doesn't matter if he's 45 or 55 or 65 years old. He's gonna
Slow,
find a way to get it done, you know?
slow down at 65, bro. If he's still
He'll be out there with a walker.
if he's still playing at 65, bro, I don't know what I'm gonna think.
No, he won't be out there at 65, but goddamn, man, at this rate, I don't know. Brady might be able to go till he's 50. I mean,
I agree.
yeah, and I will not sit here on a podcast and tell you that I'm counting the Bucks out to go win another championship. I won't. As bad
Would
as
you
they've looked, I will not say that.
would you be surprised if Brady played till he was 50 and won at least three more in between?
No, because he's proven it time and time again that he can do it. I'll still to this day I'll sit here and tell you I feel like the Bucks should have won the Super Bowl last year. If the defense doesn't pull their head out, if the defense pulls their head out of their ass and doesn't allow Cooper Kupp to go by himself deep down the field for that go-ahead touchdown, Brady single-handedly brought that team back into the game when everyone counted them out.
And you think that they beat Cincinnati?
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see Joe Burrow against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. How about you?
Yeah, but I would have even loved it more if it was a Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. Ooh, we.
Yeah, we've seen that, and that was a blowout.
Oh yeah, yeah. Duh, man. Sorry, I'm having brain loss here.
No, you're straight. You know, one guy that's really hitting his stride and giving me confidence in this team, running back Leonard Fournette, who, despite the struggles of the offense, is continuing to play well. He combines for 162 yards in that game on Sunday night.
Yeah, and they're going to need him to continue to play well if they want to have success.
Absolutely. Everyone's going to have to step up. Um, so the Bucks do their jobs, stay in front in the NFC South, and a monster game coming up on Sunday against the Panthers that they need to get the win. They can't afford to get swept by the Panthers, and I don't think they will. Give me the Bucks at home to get back to 500, something they've been trying to do for a while, and get to 8-8. If they can finish the season above 500, 9-8, give a couple a winning streak going into the playoffs, then we can go ahead and stop counting out this Bucks team, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, for the Cardinals, the lost season, they fall to 4-11. Kyler Murray out and Cliff Kingsbury, the next guy out. I mean, I don't, Cliff Kingsbury is gone, right?
He has to absolutely be. Um, as a matter of fact, he is, and there will be a new man at the helm. And I'm going to give you a hot take. Do you know who I'm about to say?
Are you gonna say Sean Payton?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you want to give Kyler Murray the best chance to be successful, pay the price and go get Sean Payton. The Cardinals have been one of those organizations that can't consistently stay relevant and can't consistently win. Sean Payton should be able to bring that. Look what he did for the Saints for all those years, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How about this? Cardinals veteran defensive end JJ Watt announces he will retire after this season. Hell of a career, huh?
Yeah. I just wanted to say, it was an honor watching him, man. I mean, you know, if you were a college football fan, like me and stuff, and you seen the story, he was a walk on. Nobody believed in the guy. They didn't think he was good enough to be D1. And now look at him retiring as one of at least top 10 greatest defensive ends of all time. I mean, he has, I think they said, what, 6, 7 seasons of 20 sacks or something almost, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, he's ridiculous. He was a walk on at Central Michigan, right?
Yeah, yep. And then transferred to Wisconsin. Yep.
Yep.
Uh, But
I believe he started out as a tight end.
so and that's another point is he is one of the only, I think the only player in NFL history to have 100 sacks and 5 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what was said.
Yeah, 149 games played, 111 sacks, 580 tackles, 27 forced fumbles, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 5-time first team All Pro, and 2-time sack leader. Hall of Famer for sure.
Absolutely, even without a ring. But I have one little quick trivia for you, Alex. Who are the other two? The only other two players besides J.J. Watt to become a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Ooh, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Reggie
There,
White,
nope, there was only
Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor's one. There's one more.
Not Reggie White.
He's playing in the modern day right now.
3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Not J.J. Watt. That's a tough one. Who is it?
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald. I should have guessed that one. Yeah. Great company, huh?
Yeah, I mean, those are three surefire Hall of Fame. Well, I mean, one of them's already in the Hall of Fame, but those are all three surefire Hall of Famers.
Absolutely. And so I'm surprised a little bit that he's retiring because JJ Watt's had such a successful season this year. It really bounced back in a big way, but hell of a career, and the NFL is going to miss him. We're going to miss watching him play.
Yeah, and the good part is there's three of them, so we have the honor now of watching his brother fill his shoes and play well.
Yeah, and I think if we stick around long enough, we're going to see Watt kids out here on Sunday as well.
Yeah, I hope to be around that long.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, TJ Watt will continue the Watt tradition with his great play in Pittsburgh. Let's go to Monday Night Football. The Chargers at your Colts. The Colts starting third string quarterback Nick Foles. Um, have you heard yet why Sam Ellinger is not starting?
I have not. One thing I have heard was that was an Ursay decision.
Man, someone needs to get a hold of Ursay and say, "What the hell are you doing?" Whether it's Frank Reich or Jeff Saturday or Carson Wentz or Nick Foles, Ursay is making a lot of decisions that I don't agree with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know, in my opinion, if you don't go out and get a quarterback, which I hope you do, and I hope that is Will Levis because I love watching him play. But anyway, this is a perfect time to give Sam Ellinger the experience he needs.
Absolutely. Ellinger should be playing all these games to finish out the year. I don't know why not, but that's an Ursay move. The Chargers take care of business and win 20-3. The Chargers clinch a playoff spot. You know, this is big because this is something I've been talking about a lot is that all this hype for Justin Herbert and the Chargers and no playoffs. So now we finally are going to get to see it. We're going to see Brandon Staley, Justin Herbert, and the Chargers in the playoffs, and I'm interested to see how they look. Um, a lot of upside. I don't think they win a playoff game. I think they're one and done, but it's a big step just to get to the playoffs, and still very young in Herbert's career. He's got a lot more room to grow.
Yeah, and I think Justin Herbert needed this because I was watching, of course, a lot of media and stuff. They were starting to slow down on, you know, saying is Herbert amongst the elites, and I think making the playoffs will still keep him in that conversation of
Well,
being.
making the playoffs is the first step. Now, what he needs to do, those talks are going to continue if he doesn't play well. He needs to play really well in that playoff game. He needs to ball out and, maybe pull an upset win, at least keep it really close until the final whistle.
Yep,
And I think he will. I think Herbert's going to play a great game. If it's up to me, it's probably going to be a Brandon Staley coaching error that cost him a win.
yep, absolutely.
Um, So real quick, let me get your thoughts on this. Where do the Colts go from here? Is Jeff Saturday the long-term answer at head coach, or do you want the Colts to, you know, go get somebody else, a better name, a bigger guy, and figure out the quarterback position this offseason?
Um, you know what? I'm glad that you asked me this question because I was talking to another Colts fan, and he believes, which I think could be correct, is that Ursay wants a former Colt in there. He wants a former Colts guy to be the coach. I don't think it's just Saturday, but I think it's somebody else from the organization, from the past.
I I hate to be the bearer of bad news. My gut feeling, I think Jeff Saturday gets extended. I think he's the guy Ursay wants. I I find it hard to believe. I agree with you that Ursay wants a former Colt, and I find it hard to believe he's going to go anywhere else. I think Jeff Saturday has been his guy all along.
But see, the problem is though, Alex, is if you hired Jeff Saturday when the Colts were a fantastic team, had all the pieces to win the title, that's fine. But now you're hiring him to rebuild. To me, he don't have enough experience for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a mistake. But Ursay is one of those guys that is a hands-on owner and he wants to do it his way. Also, I think Chris Ballard gets fired at the end of the year. Do you agree with that? The GM?
I'm actually hearing that Ballard may be retained.
I think he gets fired. I think that Ursay has been blaming Ballard for the Frank Reich extension and stuff. I think that Ballard goes. I don't know. I could be wrong. Um, but I do think, it's hard to know exactly what Ursay is going to do. My gut feeling is that Jeff Saturday is the guy, and we'll see. I mean, I don't agree with it. No.
Oh yeah. By the way, this is a hot take, but Alex, I'm telling you, bro, there is one. Speaking of a former Colt, this just hit my brain, and I couldn't think of which one it was, but there's a really, really hot name, and Ursay said he's willing to throw the whole kitchen sink at him.
Yeah.
Can you take a guess who that is?
Harbaugh.
Yes, sir.
I mean, whoever gets Jim Harbaugh out of Michigan back to the NFL it's gonna be a home run hire. No doubt in my mind, Jim Harbaugh is gonna build whatever team he goes to up and have them contending. So if the Colts can do it, I'll sit here and give Ursay a ton of credit, ton of praise. Um,
My take is, bro, we will see Harbaugh in the NFL again.
yes, we will. I think it'll be soon too. I think it'll be in a year or two.
To me, in my opinion, it depends on how Michigan does in this playoff game on Saturday night.
I think they win the playoff game. I think they lose the national championship game though.
And that's when, man, I mean, what did you say? Like, I know Michigan extended him to, I think, like, what, 2028 or something?
He's
And
he's got opt out clauses though. Harbaugh can walk away after every year if he wants.
yeah, see that right there shows me that he still has somewhat of wanting to coach in the NFL.
Yes, no doubt. I think Harbaugh 100% is waiting for the right opportunity. He wants to go back to the NFL. He's just not going to come back for any job. He's going to make sure it's the right one. And he's the thing about Indy that you would have to sell Harbaugh on is getting the right quarterback. Harbaugh wants to have the right quarterback. And from what I've heard, that he's intrigued by Justin Fields, you know?
Absolutely, but Alex, right? Hear me out. What has what is Harbaugh? What is his mo when it comes to offense?
Oh, yeah. He's going to build in the trenches and run game.
And what does Indy have right now? One of the
Yeah,
best,
well, they need to shore up the trenches a little bit on the O line, but he's got the running backs for sure.
one of the best running backs, healthy wise, when he's healthy in the NFL. I mean, this is to me, this is a perfect opportunity, and I respect Harbaugh, being at Michigan and what he's done there. But
Mm-hmm.
man, I definitely love him if he came to Indy.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ursay will be smarter than my Bears, right? I think if Harbaugh shows any interest at all, Ursay will bring him in, talk with him, offer him a big ass deal. My Bears wouldn't even have a conversation with him, wouldn't even bring him in. So you got a better you can sit there and hate on, talk about how Ursay's pissing you off and whatever, but man, be glad you got a better ownership group than my Bears. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, Ursay's been there before. Let's not forget that we were 2-14 after Peyton left, and then 2 years later, he goes and finds a diamond in the rough and a franchise quarterback. So
Yeah.
and Andrew Luck. So Ursay's been there before. I got faith in him. I think he knows what he's doing, but as of now, he has me a little worried.
At the hottest take possible, Harbaugh goes to the Colts and talks Andrew Luck out of retirement.
But hey, I would not, bro. That could be. You might be onto something.
Hey, bring back this. They'll be the Stanford Colts. You know what I mean?
Oh, I would be so excited.
But all right, well, good shit, man. I mean, this was a long episode, but there was so much to talk about. This was a blast.
Yeah, absolutely,
So
man.
can't wait for week 17. Playoffs right around the corner. Gonna be plenty to talk about again next week as we're gonna have, a lot of big games that are gonna impact, the playoffs. So can't wait, bro. Good shit as always, man.
Yeah, thanks, bro. It's getting down there. Before you know it, the Super Bowl is going to be here.
Absolutely. And real quick for our listeners, if you're not subscribed, if you're not listening consistently, start doing it now because I'm here to tell you January on this podcast is going to be absolutely lit. Uh, we're working on a lot. We're going to have some big names on the show. Stay tuned. That's all I got to say is you have no idea what's coming up here in the month of January. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Dustin, I know you're excited for it to all go down. What better way to spend on the podcast than talking playoff football with some of the biggest names in the sport, huh?
Oh man, it's a dream, bro, and we get to live it. Not many can.
Absolutely.
And but anyways, yeah, I just want to thank the people who do follow us and hear us every week, man. It's much appreciated, and spread the word. Let your other sports fans.
Absolutely.
It's great football talk, NFL, college, NBA when we get the chance to, rewatches. There's a lot of episodes on there. Even shout out to legend Bobby Bowden.
Yeah.
Alex was able to pull him. So check everything out.
Absolutely. And we're going to do, once this NFL season ends, we're going to switch our attention to the rewatches and the NBA season and really ramp up when, college basketball, March Madness and all that. So we're going to keep these episodes coming out all year long. So make sure and subscribe if you're not. Keep listening, keep supporting, and we really appreciate you. You guys are the real MVP. So
Absolutely.
good shit as always. Appreciate the support. Have a great week, guys, and peace out.